welcome back to the Ourcraft Podcast. I keep pronouncing it like that, but it's not the name of it anymore. it's the Ourcraft Podcast. Suggesting some light in the room. For some reason, I look very ashy gray on the. What in the world? Why does it put me in the Alex skin? But I look very ashy gray on the camera for some reason. I'm trying to figure out why.
I had to remake my skin this afternoon, so may have something to do with that.
It does indeed look like the skins.
It's just in Minecraft Bedrock glitchy.
Yeah, it looks like some update, removed all the skins. Okay.
Which is really strange, so because I was playing earlier today, and then I went and I got some pizza for dinner, and I came back. When I was playing earlier, I had my skin. When I came back, I didn't. Very strange.
Okay, whatever you want to do. Okay, Tosh.
Yes.
Can you run Dad and JoJo to that fast pace? He's sick. He needs. I'm afraid he'll get worse. Rescue town.
JoJo or Dad?
JoJo.
Okay.
Dad's gonna go with you.
Okay.
And you do. I hate to ask you, but I just took Lasix and I
got you.
Yeah. Take the card in case you need it, but I don't think so. He's getting ready. Dad, the moving card
Alright.
is in the movie
Well.
right there on the table.
I will be back.
Noted. Okay. Interesting style. Oh, wait, headwears. Equip. Okay, and now outerwears. Style, tops, robo suit. We'll wear the tool belt trousers. Go back to body. We'll go to arms. Left arm.
Yeah, I decided to update my look a little bit myself. I have a vest now.
Alright, now we will go back to body. We'll go to legs. There we go. All right. What'll do for right now. We'll resume the game. Okay, well that was a weird aside that I had to do. Today, my drink is something a little bit weird that I haven't done in a little bit of time. It's Coca-Cola mixed with coffee or espresso.
What?
Yeah, it's good.
Neither of those things sound good on their own, let alone when you put them together.
Well, I'm sorry that you don't like Coca-Cola or coffee. I'm kind of curious as to why you have a problem with either of those things, but...
They taste bad. 2 shakes.
Well, when you mix them together, the taste is both completely different and absolutely the same.
Sounds disgusting.
It's actually really good. The bitterness of the coffee pairs really well with the sweetness of the Coke. And Coke has a very caramel-like flavor, which is traditionally paired with coffee anyway. Alright. But we'll save talking about my drink of choice for a little bit. It is a lot of caffeine, though. Possibly because I'm mixing, caffeine with more caffeine.
Might have something to do with it.
I am so excited for this mansion to be finished. It is coming along nicely. It's almost a little bit better than I had anticipated it being too. Don't get me wrong though, there's still like a lot of purchasing that needs to be done. Okay. Pillar quartz. I'm not gonna buy pillar quartz right now. Block of quartz. That's what I need.
Good though. As someone who's been working a while on their own large project, I understand the feeling.
Okay, Minecraft. What in the world? What in the world?
Happened?
It's just blaring stupid loud music. Where I can't hear myself think. Well, it was literally at 15. It shouldn't be loud, but I can't hear myself think at 15 because of this song.
Oh wow.
And it's a beautiful song, but it crescendos so high. How could you possibly listen to that? It's like a really loud flute note. I had to turn it down to 5, and it's still pretty loud.
Turn it off.
No, like I need some background music for the stream and stuff. But like, goodness, that song is just, it's really loud at the end. And it, like, Minecraft music is usually something that you can just hear in the background and just sort of move past, even if you're listening to something else. Like, it's usually not, like, that loud. For some reason, that song just, it reawakens you to the notion that there's background music going on.
Background music is no longer staying in the background.
Yeah, no, it's very much front and center towards the end of the cycle of the song. It really wants you to know that it's there. Quartz trading wouldn't be nearly so bad if you could actually do anything with pillar quartz.
I mean, you can build with it.
Well, I meant you... Well,
Damn.
well, thanks. I think I used
Okay.
it very well in my build.
I have some pillar quartz in my build. I take it back. Large amounts of it are ugly. It looks great as an accent.
You don't like it in the mansion?
I didn't say that. Is the whole thing made out of pillar quartz?
Basically, yeah, all of the walls are pillar quartz. Have you not noticed?
It is an aesthetic. It is not my aesthetic, but it certainly is an aesthetic.
I made it so that there's texture as you get closer, but there's no texture as you get far away, which is what I was trying for.
I get acacia leaves from.
The other nice thing about pillar quartz for the build is that it's flat as opposed to making very clear where the blocks are. So as you get
that's why
further,
I use smooth quartz. I have a lot of quartz in my build, but it's all
yeah,
smooth
but I
quartz.
want there to be texture when you get closer.
There is texture on smooth quartz. It's just not the texture you're looking for, which is fine.
All right, let's see. I agree that pillar quartz doesn't look like pillars. I use chiseled quartz for my pillars.
I did use pillared quartz for pillars. That's the only place that I used the pillared kind.
Really?
Yes. Currently going through my house because I've got large amounts of shulker boxes on every floor. Trying to put everything away before I start the next thing because I've just been running around like a crazy person being like, oh, where's this? Oh, where's that? I'll find it, and then I just don't find it. I have way more sea lanterns
Oh
than I thought I
man,
had.
it's all coming together.
Why are all of the doors open? I know I'm lazy, but I need to close the doors.
So, because this is technically a podcast, I'm trying to think of large world events that happened this week, but I don't think anything's really important happened this week.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh boy. Oh, there are more on the roof.
Alright. Well, let's see. We did a round of purchasing. So let's go ahead and get to more terraforming, because that's a thing that also needs to get done. Yes, the satisfying block breaking of Minecraft.
Oh no, I took my... Where did I put my pickaxe? In an effort to have as many shulker boxes in my pockets as possible, I have removed all of my tools. And I can't break the shulker boxes. I think I have them all.
Oh, is it that time already?
Is it? Wait, is it bedtime?
I'm hearing zombie moans.
I shall find a bed since I'm on that floor. It's not quite bedtime, but I don't know if that means it will be soon.
Oh, I might be hearing zombie moans for other reasons.
I mean, the sun is going down, so it's
Yeah.
about time to sleep. I had to go look though. As my vault is underground.
That's why I put a clock in my, in what's currently my bedroom.
It would probably make sense for me to do that. Actually, I have a clock down there. But I've been running around picking up shulker boxes. But yeah, I do have a clock. I just kind of forgot about it. It's bedtime.
Well, they're not an amazingly useful item. Like, they're kind of useful sometimes. In very specific applications. But
I think underground is like the only place they're truly useful. At all. Useful at all. I should caveat that. It's kind of nice for a decoration sometimes. Be like, oh, I've got a clock.
I wish you could build, like, actual clocks, though. Like, I want like a placeable grandfather clock.
I'm sure you can make giant clocks with redstone, but not quite the effect that I think you want.
I'm sure you could, and I've actually thought about building a clock tower somewhere.
Yeah.
But I've got enough large builds going for right now. Because if I remember right, technically Atlantis isn't actually finished yet.
Is it not?
No.
What else is left to do?
Clean up an expansion of the laboratory section of Atlantis, and maybe a few more rooms sprawled out here and there.
Mm. I think I have finished the exterior of the castle. Which is making me very happy.
I should take all this land that I'm removing and go put it somewhere else that I need it, instead of letting it pile up in my various chests and stuff. That would be a smart thing to do.
It would.
Alright.
I am not looking forward to terraforming around the castle.
What's not to like? It's hours of grueling work.
I already spent hours of grueling work building the darn thing. Like, oh my goodness. But I have some ideas. I'm not gonna fill it in completely because, well, it just does not seem like something that I would like to do. But I think I'm gonna make like a river-ish thing.
See, I want the estate around the manor to be reminiscent of like medieval noble manor. So everything is going to be rather flat around it. It's not really gonna be any hills or anything when I'm done. But there's not going to be any, like, dips or anything either. So, like, I have to go fill in the ocean to a certain point out, amongst other things. I have a rather aggressive dog today. She is not happy with whatever the neighbors are doing. There was also a dumpster diver for some reason in our local apartment dumpster. And she wasn't too sure what to think about that guy either. To be fair, I wasn't too sure what to think about that guy.
Yeah. How did I have this much stuff out? Ow.
Oh, I forgot to... Oops.
Like, never ending. I'm really glad I have so many resources. That's great. Really, really annoying.
I forgot to have the YouTube chat open. If she doesn't stop soon, I'm going to have to go take away her porch privileges. Because that's what she's doing right now. She's sitting on my porch and just sort of people watching, and apparently she has decided to start barking at people. Which, it's getting a bit dark, and I've noticed, it took me a while to notice, but I've noticed she doesn't do very well with shadows. Like, shadows make her nervous. Like, if she... For some reason, her night vision's really bad. And I don't know why? Must be some sort of genetic defect or something. Which is a bit sad, but... That's why I hate the dog breeding industry. They, like, focused way too much on pure breeding. And sort of ruined a lot of the dog breeds. Which, she's a mutt, but, like, she's a first-generation mutt. So, you still got, like, a lot of the genetic problems in there. But, yeah, that's the reason I just prefer mutts in general. There tends to be a lot less health issues in general. Which, bad eyesight's not really a health issue. but she was to come on camera. She's got a naturally docked tail. Which is interesting, especially considering that she's a mutt. But it just so happens that both shepherds and Rottweilers can have the recessive trait for docked tails. So I guess she won the lottery on that one. What in the world? So, last week and this week as well, for some reason, there's been this weird glitch where as you're trying to run along in place, instead of placing like normal, it'll just lock onto the like square that you were placing on and just stack up really high as you move away. So you'll get like 4 blocks down, nothing will be placed. You look up, and there's just like 4 grass blocks like on top of each other.
Very strange.
Sometimes it'll place perfectly. Sometimes it'll skip one, like it just did to me. It skipped a placement. Sometimes it'll place smoothly for quite a while. Sometimes it'll do the thing above. It's... Listen, I actually do genuinely prefer Bedrock to Java at the moment. Except with the combat. I did prefer combat from Java. But Bedrock is trying its best to make me want to switch to Java full-time. And I know that they're trying their best to get everyone to switch to Bedrock. So, listen, Mojang, you are actively trying to push people towards Java. Stop it. Like, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That's unexcusable. I know that you've
believe that you're having the problem. I do not have that problem, but I believe that you are having it.
You can literally pull up my stream on Twitch or YouTube right now and watch a few seconds ago what just happened.
I've got YouTube open already. I'm gonna go look. Yeah, like, I believe you. I just have not had that problem yet. Okay. Subscription.
But it literally started to place like 5 blocks. You might have to rewind a little bit to get that, because I think the stream's actually pretty on point today, I think, of keeping up. So you may have to rewind a little bit to see it, but there was
you're currently talking about getting people to switch.
Oh yeah, it's about to happen.
Yeah.
There's literally just a place.
Whoa!
Yeah, it starts to place like 5 blocks, and then they just all disappear and go back into my inventory and skip. Yeah, no, that's inexcusable.
Oh my goodness.
I know that you've already admitted you're bad at coding, Mojang, but come on.
Oh, wow.
Come on.
That's
High
bad.
school me made a less buggy game. Granted, it was a lot less sophisticated, but...
That's bad. Oh, my mouse is...
I don't expect you to rid it of bugs, but there are some things that are inexcusable, especially when they haven't ever happened before.
Sorry, my villagers disappearing is inexcusable, Mojang. And my pandas, like, entity despawning is a problem.
Supposedly they've fixed that one.
They did not. Because since that update where they fixed it, I have cured a zombie villager, named said villager, locked villager in lit room, came back, villager's gone.
So apparently, It's when they cross chunk borders.
I
Meaning,
know where the chunk borders are.
meaning you literally put their house, their little prison house, on top of a chunk border.
Wait, I trapped it in a turret of the castle. Because that's where it spawned. Didn't even have a house. It lived in a turret. Goodness, why? How did I collect so much stuff on the roof?
Ooh, that is delightfully good. That is some of the smoothest espresso.
It still sounds really gross.
It's some of the smoothest espresso I've ever made. Actually, I'm gonna go get myself another shot of espresso, a little bit of milk, just a smidge. I'm gonna try it just as espresso, because it's really smooth in that coffee, or that's really smooth in that Coke. So.
Why do you do this? You ever have that problem where you're looking around inside your inventory or a chest and it doesn't work anymore? It stops clicking. You have to close it and reopen it. Very annoying. I'm just...
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
This is literally just a shot of espresso with like a tablespoon of milk. And it's pretty good. I drink that. Now I'm not going to because I already have I already have a whole shot of espresso in Coke. So I don't need like that much caffeine. Ooh, we better not put that there. The dog might get that. There we go. Were you not going to rest tonight?
Is it still underground? I can't see.
I just thought that the large notification of Comrade is sleeping.
I did not see it.
All right.
Otherwise, I certainly would have gone to take my nighttime
I
nap.
need to improve that a little bit because that's not working out like I thought it was going to.
Okay, are you ever just like working inside of a chest clicking things, and it suddenly stops letting you click on things.
Yes.
I don't like it.
It seems like Bedrock has been getting a lot buggier lately. And a lot of the bugs are starting to get unacceptable. I don't know. I don't know if it's like because we're on our realms. If Bedrock would be this buggy anyway. It's not good.
Nope.
That placement went a lot smoother than the last one. It does seem to do a little bit better if I'm placing from the side while running. But even then, sometimes it just sort of bugs out.
Oh my goodness, the spiders that didn't... I still hear a zombie. It's daytime.
I think, you know, I think after we get done with the manor, I think my next project might be... I know I've been contemplating what to do next, but I think an airship would be fun.
It does sound very interesting.
I would
Looks
like
cool.
to make a functional one, but that would take a lot of redstone and pistons and
I mean, if there's anything we have a lot of as a group, it's redstone.
well, you need slime blocks, you need redstone, you need pistons, you need a lot of time to plan everything out. And then you've got to accept the fact that the airship will only ever move forward and it can't turn.
There's that. There's that.
Something interesting that you can do, though, is apparently in the Nether, you can find just large seas of lava and build bridge building contraptions on them that just build a bridge across the lava that self-builds.
Okay.
Because if you take blue ice and you put it on top of lava,
Makes basalt.
makes basalt, and then you just sort of have the redstone contraption fold the basalt up and around to make edges and stuff.
Very interesting. I have a basalt machine. Yeah, automatic. There we go. Automatic basalt maker. But I hadn't heard about it being used quite in that capacity. That's interesting.
It's a big thing in Anarchy servers, if I understand right. But for the most part, they just have one that moves across the surface and lays out a bridge. That way they can get to wherever they're going. There's a witch out here for some reason.
Witches don't burn in the daylight, do they?
No, witches don't burn in the daylight. But,
I think it would be neat if they burned, if they touched water.
well, that one just sort of walked into the ocean. So, that's not a thing.
I just
I'm
think
not
it'd be
saying it.
neat.
I'm not saying it shouldn't be a thing. It's just not a thing right now.
Yeah.
Also, Jub would probably get offended by the Wizard of Oz reference.
Why?
I don't think he likes Frank Oz.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Wizard of Oz either, but I'm all for cliches.
Oh, wait, no,
And
his
movie
name's not
references.
Frank Oz. What's his name?
I don't know.
What is the writer of the books named? I have to look this up.
Okay.
Writer of The Wizard of Oz. There we go. Frank Baum. I was half right.
Yes, you got Frank.
Yes. I knew it was Frank something. I just, for some reason, I was like, it was a self-insert, wasn't it? No, it wasn't.
I have too much stuff. I've just determined that.
It is.
Oh, hey,
It's
look,
an
it's
interesting
food.
book series, to say the least.
Wait, I'm gonna die of hunger. Give me that food back.
Should I carpet everything in the manor, or
Some things.
That's what I was thinking, is carpet a few things and but I am contemplating how I want to deal with the ceilings.
You could
'Cause
hang lights, lanterns from chains.
I could, but see, I want the land to look like
Like,
I want the land to look medieval and sort of like the like the villagers are the peasants
mm-hmm.
serving the lord of the manor. But I want the manor to feel more modern, to give it a weird air of like anachronistic anachronicity. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to... I don't know. This is going to take like a lot of redstone. But I think I'm going to take a bunch of redstone lamps and put them into the ceilings. And you flip on a light switch to power up the manor.
Be interesting.
Which is not as difficult to do as it sounds. Because basically...
Not as long as you have the right infrastructure for it, yeah.
Well, basically, all I have to do is... get a bunch of redstone blocks. Because I think they carry power up. I'm wrong about that. I'll have to double check. But I'm pretty sure I can just sort of have like a bit of a fake wall through which I run power up into the ceiling, and then it's a bunch of half slabs of something, and then there's redstone dust, you know, just carrying power everywhere. So it's a bunch of just a simple repeater line that stretches power everywhere. Which will mean there will be a bit of a delay, and you'll have to turn off... Well, no, you shouldn't have to turn off the lights when you... That'll be a bit of a challenge, but it shouldn't be too hard. Because, redstone works on top of half slabs, if I remember right. If it doesn't, I'll have to drop the ceiling a whole block, or 2 blocks. Which, that won't be quite as good, but it'd still be kind of roomy. I guess 1, 2, 3, 4... I guess 2 blocks wouldn't be too bad. Each floor will have to have its own power space, I think, though. Alright, off to get some more emeralds to buy more quartz. Because I'm going to be dividing my time between the 2 endeavors. Let's see. Man, Jobs have been gone for a while now.
He had to go take someone somewhere because they were unwell.
Well, yeah, I knew that, but it has been like 50 minutes because that happened right at the start of the stream. I'm just commenting that it has taken a while for him to get back. A little bit longer than I thought it was going to. But I did know that he had to take somebody somewhere. I expected it to take a while. I guess 50 minutes was a bit longer than I was expecting. Okay. trading with villagers might be the most efficient way to get our mending weapons repaired now.
I mean, it's always been an efficient way to get weapons repaired.
Yeah. So it's a good
When I
thing.
used
It's a
to,
good thing they
take-
can't ruin that mechanic. Not bitter about the fact that my my kelp farm is ruined.
Not at all.
Tearing me apart, Lisa.
I'm actually gonna take a trip before I start on the interior of the turrets. I'm going to take a trip back home. Well, this is my home. I don't know what to call it. Back to my cottage by the sea.
Well,
So that I can...
While you're out, you should come look at how the manor's coming along.
Okay. I will.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a bunch of my tools. I'm on just tools that I have found lying around. Because I've burned up all my tools. Well, I have netherite fortune pickaxes still, but I needed silk touch because I'm working with glass and gilded black stone. Nah, I needed the silk touch. I used up all my netherite silk touch pickaxes.
I tried out.
And I'm almost through this diamond one too.
You didn't put mending on your diamond pickaxe?
It has mending on it. I just haven't taken anything to get mended yet. That's the problem. I still have my netherite pickaxes.
Especially
they
since...
just needed healed.
Oh, come on. 1, 2, 3,
I need to take them back to the gold farm.
7, 8. I was... I am annoyed. I am very much annoyed. I was 8 quartz blocks away from finishing my last ring around with whole quartz blocks. Before anyone comments, yes, I know technically I could get the same thing finished a lot faster if I used half slabs. But I want to do a good job, not a half job.
Listen, I exchanged, when I was running out of quartz, I went through everywhere that I'd placed quartz blocks, picked them up, cut them in half, and put them back. And I am not ashamed. I was efficient.
I would know.
Yeah, but the thing is, nobody else is gonna know.
I would know. I would know what I'd done. I tried gold.
Yep, and I'm proud of it.
I tried gold accents on the top, and it just looked bad. I don't know why the gold
What blocks
doesn't...
do you have up there?
Oh, it's like quartz, pillar quartz, I think. But it looked bad for some reason. It just... The gold does not pair very well with the white of the quartz.
Yeah, just...
It pairs really
and...
well with, like, concrete white concrete. Because that's what I have in Atlantis.
I think it's whatever, like, the pillar, like, texture is probably what it is.
No, from, like, far away it didn't work.
Because I have a lot of quartz in my
Because,
build.
like, hardly anybody's gonna go up to the roof. So I was only really worried about what it looked like from far away. But it just...
Right.
It looked like a stupid gold hat on top of... Just
Oh.
on top of a manor. It didn't actually look like gold accents, which made me realize what would look nice is if you could gild chiseled quartz. kind of like gilded Blackstone. But
Dude, if I could gild Blackstone by hand, I would be a very happy camper.
I don't know why that's not a thing. Why can't
I think it's to make it rarer. Less common. However you say that.
Sure, but like... It's a bit dumb.
I mean, I would love to do it. I completely agree.
I think it should be expensive to do. For instance, 8 gold nuggets around 1 Blackstone. But I don't see a reason why you shouldn't be able to do that. Which means it's literally like an entire gold bar to gild Blackstone.
I had lost my stacks of gilded Blackstone amongst
Mojang,
my...
I'm not saying if you take my idea that I expect royalties, but check in the mail every month would be nice. I guess that would mean I have to send a check to John Tron for stealing his joke, though.
Oh, I accidentally ended up with my rockets back in my hopper. I didn't even realize.
That's pillar quartz. I don't need that. Block of quartz. Pillar quartz. Pillar quartz. More pillar quartz. Block of quartz, but he's not refilled. Pillar. There we go. Another block. I have enough to finish the rings. Pillar. Block of quartz.
I still don't have everything put away. I'm not going to do anything else tonight. I'm just going to finish putting stuff away, and that's going to be all the time that there is.
I don't even want to know how long it's going to take me to go through all of my dump chests.
Basically what I'm doing. Taking forever. Except I had a million shulker boxes hanging around the castle. And dump chests that I'm not even sure I'm going to touch tonight. They've been there since I started this build. Not even about it. Because most of the stuff's going to have to end up in shulker boxes anyway. So there isn't room for it in the inn. Gosh, I'm getting down so close to having all of it. But then there's just stuff that doesn't belong in the vault that I have to go put away too.
Oh, come on. Bunch of stairs started to place themselves weirdly.
Oh yeah, stairs do that. That's... Yeah. goodness. Just put it away! You. Oh no. Hate it when I do that.
Well, it looks finished from the... well, it doesn't look finished from the front, but it looks more finished from the front than it does from the side. So I suppose that's something.
Okay, everything that goes in the vault is put away. Now I have to go run throughout the castle and put everything else away. Stuff that I don't have space in my pockets for. And I inevitably end up running around the castle more than once because I've got a shulker box full of stuff I gotta put away too.
Like a malevolent boomerang, I have returned.
Excellent.
Welcome
Just
back.
in time to talk about our daily drinks.
Which is gross. This drink is gross.
What travesty against nature have you committed this week, comrade?
It's just the coffee and Coke.
You
I tell you.
Disgusting.
Thank you.
It's homemade, if that makes it better.
No.
Yeah, comrade, of course it's homemade. Because you see, when companies make a product, there has to be a market.
There is.
Of people that are willing to pay
You
money
can
for
still go and buy the coffee and Coke combination at Walmart.
I don't know what kind of hellish, demonic Walmart you happen to frequent, but I can tell you that here, where I live, on Earth, I have never been to a Walmart that would attempt to poison me so.
Nope, it's pretty ubiquitous in Walmarts right now.
Nope, not in this metaphysical reality.
You're just afraid.
Walmart cannot legally sell you coffee and Coke if you do not consent.
That's true, they can't force you to buy it. That doesn't mean that it can't exist, though.
Yes, it does.
Coffee and Coke does exist. Coffee and Coke can hurt you.
I have decided. I'm putting my foot down.
Much like small Ame, Coffee and Coke does exist.
Nope. So I draw the line here.
Seriously though, I used the espresso beans.
I am the final word.
I used the espresso beans from my sister's the coffee shop my sister works at, and those are some smooth espresso beans.
Yeah, they have great coffee there. That's where my coffee is from.
Yeah. And,
I'm pretty sure I actually saw your sister earlier today.
Nice.
In the drive-thru.
That's probably true. She didn't go home for spring break.
I don't get to have a spring break because I work at a golf course. And spring break's during Masters Week.
My other sister did go home for spring break, and now I have to go pick her up tomorrow. In this economy,
to pick her up tomorrow, right?
Usually, get to would be the word, but in this economy, with the gas prices,
Jesus.
I probably have the most fuel efficient car in my family, and it's still like $40 a fill up at the moment. And I also live in a a very affordable county. Like, the county above me has $4 gas, and we still have $3.50 gas. As of last week. I don't know what it is now. I haven't had to buy gas in a week. That's how fuel efficient
Now
my
it's
car is.
6.
It might be 6. Which would be very
Frickin'
depressing.
California.
Remember when California was the place to be?
No.
When was that? The 1850s?
No, much more recent. Last time they had a Republican governor. His name was Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, so like the 1850s.
Alright, what potion? Oh, no potions take glowstone. Glowstone is a strengthening solution for potions. I knew that.
Man, that guy had such a... Regardless of what you think of his politics, because I'm not really interested in getting into politics on our podcast. I'll make political jokes at the expense of both sides, but other than jokes, I don't want to go much farther. But aside from politics, that guy had he had a history. Like, he did things. Like, he was a movie star, a football player. Apparently he was a really good football player. Like, I believe he got into college on a football scholarship. American football, where, in case anybody from across the pond listens to this.
My man was an Elder Scrolls main character. He's going around to every institution.
He was a
Taking notes.
football player in high school and college. He became an actor. He acted with some really famous people. Like, he had a movie where both him and Shirley Temple were the stars.
He's just going through all of the
Who is an
different faction
actress?
quest lines.
Who's an actress so famous? How long has she been dead, and we still know who she is?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I only know about Shirley Temple because a whole bunch of our movies. I think the Golden Girls DVD that I have has advertisements that play at the beginning, and it's always advertising like the digital recoloring of the complete Shirley Temple collection.
Oh, don't get me wrong. She was a terrible child actress.
My mother hated her.
I don't know who it is.
She was a terrible child actress. Everyone only likes her because she was very cute.
Is that the word we're going with?
My mother. My goodness. We were lucky we were allowed to watch any of her movies, how much she hated her.
What is your mother's animosity towards this random child?
She just doesn't. Never has.
She was
like
supposedly
her.
all right as an actress when she got older. I haven't watched any of her stuff from when she was older.
I've only seen the stuff from when she was a child.
That's when she was most famous. Like, everyone liked her as a child actress, which I don't understand because she was a bad child actress. Like, she was terrible. But apparently, people found her very cute. So they just stuck her into everything, even the stuff she didn't belong in. Like, every movie that needed a small girl, Shirley Temple was cast as the small child.
Like fruit juices, putting cranberries and everything.
But see, that works.
No,
cran
No,
grape.
you keep your cranberries away from my apple juice. Actually, you keep that apple juice away from my cranberries.
I was gonna say cran apple is way better than normal apple. What are you talking about? Cran grape's pretty good. I like
Grape is better than cran grape.
I mean grape's good.
Cranberry is better than cran grape. Water is better than cran grape.
Cran raspberry is
The only
alright.
thing that isn't better than cran grape is the freaking coffee and Coke.
Have you ever had it?
No, Conrad, and I've also never been stabbed in the eye before.
But he knows he doesn't like it.
Well, okay. To be fair, he doesn't like most sparkling beverages. He doesn't like carbonation.
Comrade, I haven't had a soda in almost a decade.
I don't even like soda anymore.
Welcome to the club. So, Comrade, you're outvoted. You're wrong.
Ah, well. Unfortunately, this is a fascistic communist state, so... To the
This is
gulag.
a what?
So Wendy's?
No, knowing what I know about Wendy's, that tracks. Say this is a fascist communist state.
Fascistic is what I said.
That's not how this works.
That's not how any of this works.
It's like that person that wrote a letter to Jordan Peterson. It was like, I'm a Christian and a Marxist. And he's like, the only way that you could say that with a straight face is if you don't know what either of those words means.
Oh, why did your laugh start out that way? It was very sinister.
Because he's a Christian and a Marxist.
Because I know why those two things are incompatible, and it's very funny to me.
Oh, there are many reasons why those two things aren't compatible.
My favorite factoid about Karl Marx, is that he thought everything should be owned by everybody. And everything. Wives, husbands. He was also completely aware that of the human failings that were going to result from his system, so he actually proposed that we reach a level of technology where everything was automated before we attempt to implement his ideas.
How is automation going to help us?
Well,
Because
if everything is automated, then everyone's free to be lazy and not do work and still arrive at the benefits of work, since it's automated.
Which is, the only way that we could
Have
sustain the system like communism, wherein you are rewarded equally for working and not working, and maintain a level of productivity to sustain, life.
Yeah. He was not oblivious to what human nature would do with it. He was just convinced that this was the only way to free up the time of the artistic individuals, which he considered himself part of, so that they could achieve artistic pursuits, and achieve greatness in artistic endeavors. So in case you were wondering why communism has never worked, it's because we've never had somebody like me, a technological supercomputer that can automate everything.
I am going to kick you square in your teeth. Do you want to know why communism hasn't worked? I'll tell you why communism hasn't worked. We have never been able to create a system of production efficient enough that it could run itself.
Pretty much.
And until we can do that, it's not even worth trying. And even once we do that, you're gonna have to pull some shenanigans in order to make that switch. Even if we could snap our fingers and automate the entire world's supply and production of everything, which we can't, but if we could, that wouldn't solve all our problems. We would find new problems.
1 out of 2 players sleeping.
Since y'all didn't sleep last night, I was gonna try and sleep tonight. I can't even sleep. It won't let me.
Well, that's probably because it's day. I literally waited so long in bed, it turned back into day. Alright.
Did I really only have 4 of these left?
Alright, it's time to fill in the ocean, boys.
It's time to do what?
You heard me. You just don't like what you heard.
You're right, I've given you one chance to revise what you said.
I said it's time to fill in the ocean. And I'm not changing. I said what I said.
You meant what you said, and you said what you meant. An elephant's faithful 100%.
Is that from Horton Hears a Who? Did you just Dr. Seuss me?
No, comrade, it's not from Horton Hears the Who. I pulled it straight from my brain. I speak in rhymes like that all the time.
Listen,
you should know.
In Comrade's defense, I also was wondering if it was from Horton Hears a Who.
It is from Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah, no, he was being sarcastic. As soon as he started being sarcastic, I understood he was being sarcastic.
He's being sarcastic all the time.
Yep. That is his modus operandi.
But this is not a crime, comrade.
I didn't say it was. I said it was modus operandi, which is the function of how you did it.
But you are aware of the connotation
Oh yeah,
that phrase
totally
has, which is why you picked it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you noticed. I wasn't gonna point it out though.
Oh, I have a great idea, but I don't have the means in which to do it on me.
Is it punching comrade in the face?
I mean,
Please let it be punching Comrade in the face.
it wasn't originally, but if you'd like that to happen, I'm sure I can make it so.
Yes!
My original plan was putting some soul lanterns.
Why is
up here.
Bedrock getting glitchier?
This Mojang hates us.
What in the world? Okay, so... Wait, stop hitting me.
No.
I'm talking to the, I'm talking to the drowned that keeps throwing its trident at me.
I don't care, I'm not listening anyway.
Okay, I need to go get soul lanterns.
So,
Ow!
the way that... You know how the game has decided to bug out and, begin placing blocks on top of the blocks you've already placed as you're trying to place backwards? So it did that to me, but it also glitched out again, a second time, and skipped a block placement. So there was just a block that got placed hovering in midair over nothing. And then it continued to place on top of that block.
I have a solution for you.
Uninstall.
Uninstall Minecraft.
Use sand. That way, it ends up above you. It'll end up below you.
Actually, using sand to fill in most of the ocean here is probably a good idea.
Wait. Comrade, you can have those?
Idea!
Pardon?
It was Shadow's idea.
My idea!
Oh, okay, thank goodness, that explains it.
But also, I can. They're exceptionally rare.
I have yet to see evidence of this.
Well, I'm filling in the ocean, so that's one.
No, that's a stupid thing.
No. Have you seen the things that can spawn in the ocean? They're stupid and terrifying. Like goblin sharks?
I think you're projecting.
Like goblin sharks?
Oh, you're talking about the real ocean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I sympathize with Team Magma. The ocean needs to go.
Hold on. Did I
Just like all of it.
just the look of one of the turret tops and not the other ones?
I don't care that humanity will be dead in 5 years if we do it.
I did. I didn't adjust any of the other turret tops.
A small price to pay for no ocean.
I'm sorry, little one.
Shut up.
Snaps fingers. Gets rid of ocean.
That's
Oh,
why
I'm
I
so
love
frustrated.
Markiplier playing Subnautica so much. He shares my hatred of the ocean.
Oh.
Come on.
Alright.
Why are there more drowned here than there were when I was building Atlantis at the bottom of the ocean? Like, that was the open sea. This is like a little gulf on the inside of... I think they upped the drowned spawn rates.
You know what? I think they lowered the drowned spawn rates.
You just wanted to say whatever was opposite of what I was saying.
Alright, boys.
I knew what he was doing. I just called him out on it.
Don't think that changes anything, though. Why did there's crafting tables everywhere?
As the 2B2T crafting table cult infected our server.
I infected our server.
Aren't you the one who made a giant crafting table? Or was that Dream Thief?
No, that was
no,
me.
that was Jub Jub.
I thought so. But see,
I was bored.
I know that there's only one true god in Minecraft, that being Notch. You can take your...
Do I need to go into all of the reasons why I'm now going to have to brand you as a heretic?
I mean, you're the one who has tried to bring heresy into this server, sir. Through your crafting table cult.
I'm part of the crafting table cult, comrade.
Your giant crafting table begs otherwise.
I built that out of pure boredom. It is a piece of art.
That should not be
I-
out of pure boredom.
Smells
It's
like
actually made out of several different materials. That
Smells
you
like
can find in
heresy to me.
Who do you think you are? Inquisitor Tullus of the Order Hereticus? It's just... shut up.
Maybe.
Comrade, you are not an Inquisitor. You don't have enough space fascism in you.
Space fascism.
You gotta love Warhammer 40k. It just lets you... just lets you say things like that. No one questions it. I saw a thumbnail for a YouTube video the other day where it was like, it was like Warhammer 40k biggest controversies, and apparently there was a tournament wherein they let a guy who was a neo-Nazi participate in the tournament. And I'm like, honestly, that tracks. I mean, that's just the Imperium of man. That's just... Because in Warhammer 40k, everyone's the bad guys.
Give me 1 second, I'm almost in my bedroom. I'm coming.
Welcome
Oh,
to
hey, if I
It's a
come
story
over
of
and
order
see-
versus chaos. And chaos
Yeah.
is always going to win.
Yeah.
Not every battle, but just it's going to win.
Eventually. There's just too much chaos. The War Master of Chaos, Abaddon the Despoiler, cracked a planet in half by throwing a space station at it. Which is probably the least impressive thing that he's done. He also caused a metaphysical quake so devastating that it separated the galaxy in half. So now it's basically impossible to reach certain areas of existence in the Warhammer world. Which is fine, because honestly,
I love how much of a mess Warhammer lore just is. Not even like Warhammer 40k, just Warhammer lore. I don't know if you're familiar with what they've done with fantasy lore recently, but it's literally just as much of a mess, if not more.
honestly, I don't really care about the Warhammer fantasy. I'm more interested in the Warhammer 40k stuff. But, no, I am well aware that it's just as insane.
It is surprising how often this podcast, which is not a podcast about Warhammer, gets onto the topic of Warhammer.
It's mostly me, because I've been on a Warhammer kick recently.
No, one time when Sean was on, we got onto Warhammer. And, we both me and Sean have played and like Warhammer as a game. But we were discussing fantasy models and how bad they were. Because for a long time, they were really bad. Like, you know how, like, fantasy art from, like, the 80s is just bad?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like that, but 3D models.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah, no, the original Warhammer models for fantasy are some of the worst. They got a lot better in the 90s and early 2000s. But early fantasy is awful. And early Warhammer 40k is also that bad.
Yeah.
Now, it worked for the... kind of works for the Ultramarines, who are always supposed to be, like, minimalistic. Kind of Spartan-like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't work for, like, anything else.
Yeah,
And we got onto... Then, from there, we got onto a discussion of why fantasy work from the 80s was so bad. And I blamed it on... you know that guy who has the really famous drawing of Conan? The Barbarian? I'm not going to remember what his name is.
No, I don't, but let's say that I do.
He was an artist from the 70s, I think. And he drew some really famous art pieces, which are hyper simplistic and also hypersexualized. But it had a profound impact on the fantasy art world, which sort of saw people looked at his great pieces of art, which were super simplistic, and were like, I can do that, except they didn't understand why his art was so simplistic. And they didn't understand why it worked, despite being simple. And so just a bunch of people started drawing hyper simplistic artwork. But it doesn't work because they don't have the reasons for drawing it simplistic that he did. They don't have the ability to make it work like he did. And so
It's like somebody saw some impressionist art and went, oh, I can do that.
basically, he drew simple art because he wanted you to focus in on aspects of his character rather than what the character looked like. So Conan is simplistic, but you can tell lots of things about Conan despite the simplicity. Like, you can tell he's a warrior, and you can tell that this is a man who enjoys battle, because, you know, he doesn't have a ton of complicated things about him, but he's got a sword, and the sword stands out, right? So, like, the reason he's drawing all these things with simplicity is because he wants to draw your attention on the nature of the character. He's not drawing it simply because he couldn't draw it complicated. He's not drawing it without a lot of detail because he can't. He's drawing it without a lot of detail because he wants you to focus on something about the character and understand who the character is. But yeah, it's basically a bunch of people looked at this really, it's a good piece of art. It's simplistic because that's what the artist wanted it to be, but not because he couldn't make it more complicated. I have to, like, look up this guy's name so you can, like, look it up. Frank Frazetta. There you go.
Oops.
He's the guy who drew the very famous artwork of Conan standing on a pile of skulls, holding a sword. He drew a lot of other Conan pictures too.
See, that's not even simplistic. That's just lacking in sharpness. It's not super, like, up close and detailed.
Right, which is what I was getting at, is people looked at that and they didn't understand why it works and what makes that technically a good drawing. They looked at it and said, oh, I can do that. They couldn't.
They could not. Oh my goodness. Like, even...
But yeah, that is essentially, he's the artist that inspired a whole generation of artists, or not a generation, but like a whole decade of fantasy artists. But they didn't understand what made that good, and instead were like, I can do that style. I could not do that style.
Honestly, even the 40K models now, some of the different factions are just... Games Workshop does them so dirty. It's like, you want new Ultramarine models? Oh, they're gonna get new Ultramarine models next month, I guarantee you. You want new Adeptus Serratus models?
Oh wait, you serious?
1996, most recent one.
Yeah, so
And then there's the poor Drukari over there, completely forgotten.
So before Age of Sigmar, though, the lore for Warhammer Fantasy was actually more coherent. And then Age of Sigmar happened, and they discontinued real fantasy, and nobody cares anymore. Age of Sigmar did so poorly.
Just 1 second.
They're considering bringing back actual fantasy. because Age of Sigmar is not fantasy Warhammer anymore. Age of Sigmar was their attempt to convert Warhammer Fantasy over completely to the same system used for 40k.
Why?
Supposedly it was simpler and more user-friendly. Less confusion for new players. So people could switch back and forth without getting confused.
But then, like, why have them be separate if you're going to use the same system?
Lore, I guess. But an excellent question. But essentially, Age of Sigmar was... Okay, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but let me see if I can remember exactly how Age of Sigmar goes. So do you know who Sigmar is? I guess that's an important first question.
No.
Sigmar was the first emperor of the Empire in Warhammer Fantasy. And essentially he is he has been deified by the people of the Empire. Think King Arthur meets Julius Caesar. That's
Okay, so far so Warhammer 40k.
Well, yeah, but King Arthur in that supposedly at the Empire's darkest time he will return.
So far so Warhammer 40k.
No, like Warhammer 40k Empire is based off of Fantasy Warhammer Empire. That's not even a joke, that's just fact. It's the same faction, different game.
Same soup, just reheated. I understand.
So that's Sigmar. In Age of Sigmar, so the Skaven, do you know who the Skaven are?
The rat folk people.
Yes, but picture conspiracy theorist lizard folk.
Okay.
So they're an entire race of rat people who the government denies exist, but probably runs everything behind the shadows.
One more thing of you. I've heard that. Just one more thing.
What's that?
Can you take Jeep upstairs
Yeah.
so Dad don't have to go up the steps? And I can't take her.
I
I'm
got you.
sorry.
That's okay.
Alright, I'll wait for him to come back before continuing this explanation. That way I don't have to get into exactly who the Skaven are twice.
thought the outer decoration on my turrets was done. And then I noticed that I'd done some decoration on one of them that I didn't repeat on the other 3. I am duly frustrated.
Noted.
Wait, is this one? I already did this one? Now I'm losing track. Ah, no, I have fallen. I'm so glad I got the elevators finished.
I've fallen and I choose not to get up. I'm gonna get carpal tunnel just from placing all of these blocks of sand.
Okay, one more. Some.
Alright, there he is. Sounds like he's back.
Alright, I'm back.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Alright, so I was explaining the Skaven. So the Skaven, bunch of rat people, they rule a bunch of stuff from the shadows. Nobody seriously believes that they exist except the few soldiers who have seen them. And they're spoken about in hushed whispers by conspiracy theorists. Anyway, so the Skaven, who worship a chaos deity of the moon, decide one day to blow up the planet.
As you do?
As you do. So they summon the moon onto the earth. They like perform a ritualistic spell to summon the moon and crash it into the planet, Majora's Mask style. And right before it impacts, Sigmar shows up and saves the planet, but he has to do so by separating every faction of fantasy into their own separate version of the old world. So there's now a dwarf dimension, and an elf dimension, and a dark. Sorry, there is no dark elf dimension, which I'll get back to in a minute. And an elf dimension, and a empire dimension, and I don't think there's a Bretonian dimension, and there's a Chaos dimension, and a Skaven dimension, and a Lizard Folk dimension. Basically, everyone lives in their own separate bubble universe now.
I love living in a separate bubble universe.
So now whenever they want to go to battle, they have to cross over dimensions to a separate dimension. That's sort of its own bubble dimension to have battles in. And there's no Dark Elves because apparently the guy who was in charge of the Dark Elves was right the whole time. And he was the Phoenix King the whole time. And so those thousands of years of depravity and just awful sadism are forgiven because he was correct. He was the Phoenix King the whole time. And that was all just a misunderstanding. And his mom was the real evil one. Who was...
What do you mean that was a misunderstanding?
It's sort of like the joke about Hitler wanting a glass of juice not to gas the Jews. That kind of deal. But, like, actual kind of deal thing. Where his mom is, like, the evil one the whole time, and he didn't want any of that to happen.
You want me to take you seriously as a lore?
Oh, nobody takes Age of Sigmar seriously. It's the worst. Like, lore-wise, it doesn't make any sense. Model-wise, apparently it's alright. Game mechanic-wise, it's 40k. Instead of, you know... Fantasy. Which, fantasy was all about bringing huge armies and, like, feeling like you were fielding old-time formations of, like, troops and stuff. But with fantasy races. So you could, like, you could use medieval tactics with orcs and stuff.
Okay.
And, like, cavalry felt like cavalry and stuff like that. No. Now it's 40k.
Cavalry.
Yeah, cavalry.
What did I say?
Cavalry. Calvary.
Yeah.
You know, at Calvary, Jesus.
Cavalry.
That's the one.
Yes.
Every time.
I know what I'm trying to say. Know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about as well. I just take any excuse I can to point out any and all flaws that you may have. Makes me feel better about myself.
Though, speaking of which, there's a weird rule about cavalry in Warhammer Fantasy. Did I do it
You're
wrong
just
again?
doing it.
Cavalry.
Okay, that rule is. You had it right the first time.
Cavalry. There we go.
Yes.
Alright. So the most effective, historically, formation for horsemen was the lance formation. Where you, it was called such because it was also more effective when you had lances while using this formation. But essentially, you would make, like, an arrowhead out of your men. But there's only one faction that's allowed to use this formation. It's the Bretonnians. Incidentally, they're also the only faction with lances.
I'll be right back. Keep going.
Anyway, yeah, nobody accepts Age of Sigmar as real. Even the people who play it, I don't think, abide by the lore of Age of Sigmar. It's stupid and dumb. We took elf Nazis and we made them the good guys, apparently. We were right the whole time, and it was a misunderstanding.
Thanks, I hate it.
I'm back.
I mean, real fantasy lore is also kind of dumb and stupid, but, you know, at least there's consequences for people's actions. It's not just, no, I didn't say I wanted to gas the Jews. I said a glass of juice.
You're just gonna keep saying it.
Yeah, because it's the most apt comparison. Like, literally, they're just... The Dark Elves from Warhammer Fantasy are sadistic monsters.
Yeah.
Who would
They're
rather...
that way in Warhammer 40k as well.
Arguably, the Dark Eldar are worse than the Dark Elves. If only because they have the technology to keep you alive longer.
Yeah. They can keep you alive indefinitely.
Yeah, so technically they're worse, but if only because of better tech. It's not from lack of trying.
All right, comrade, I'm here.
Oh. You are in the,
You are floating in midair.
Yeah, well, you froze my game somehow. I think it's because it's trying to figure out what your model is actually supposed to look like. Oh, I red screened. My game crashed. It did not like the fact that you were not default Steve. Because that's what you appeared on my screen as. You appeared on my screen as default Steve, and then it was like, wait, no, she's not. What is she?
Alright.
You broke it.
You broke Minecraft with your non-default state.
My beauty broke your Minecraft.
Well, it's a perfect opportunity for me to go ahead and take a small bathroom break. We're 2 hours in. We'll probably go for a bit longer, but I do need a bit of a break. I did just drink an entire glass of coffee and Coke. So, like, I think I can be forgiven for needing to use the restroom.
To even be forgiven for drinking coffee and Coke, let alone.
Send a little screenshot of you just hanging in the air
Nice.
to our screenshots page.
All right, so we're back, and when I got back, wouldn't you know it? But apparently, Mojang gave me back all of my characters again, which might be what happened.
And brought mine back up after it nixed all of mine, and it did not bring them back. I guess I just needed to crash. Because you were Alex on my screen.
Mm-hmm. I would exit and come back. It was
And I still have
definitely
one of these blue axolotls.
it was definitely the character models. Yeah, you can.
Ow, ow. They're all named. Did you want me to breed a new one?
Yes.
I'm just gonna use a couple of the fishes that you have in this chest over here.
You can't use those.
Hmm?
I said you can't use those.
I can't use them?
Not unless they're in a bucket.
Oh, if that makes sense. Well, I only have one bucket. Do you have another bucket lying around?
Yeah, somewhere.
Forgot they had to be alive.
So what do you think of the manor?
I did not go inside. I wanted to wait until you came back.
Well, my buckets are inside, so now's a perfect opportunity.
Coming.
So I obviously haven't closed off most of the rooms yet. I have the wood to do it.
But do you have the will?
Yes. I'm working on the outside.
Oh, I see the turtles.
Mm-hmm. They're supposed to be able to get in through here. I think I'm gonna have to do some finagling. But that comes later. Essentially, they all either sink to the bottom, or with the soul sand thing, stay at the top. So what I'm gonna do is each floor is gonna be cut off from the other one. So there'll be a bunch of glass. So that there's a bit of everything at each level. Right now it's a very open floor plan.
I can see that.
Because
There's
like I
nothing
said,
wrong with that.
I haven't put in the walls yet.
No. I built my wall first, too. It's easier to know how much space you're working with that way. Did this used to lead somewhere?
Yeah, it used to be my roof access.
Ah, is that why there's a piece of quartz here?
Mm-hmm. It was just a half slab. I have a dolphin.
Boy, so you do. That's neat. I need to watch it track go up and over the soul sand. Hey, fishy.
Looks like all my fish had been hiding behind the coral, because I keep seeing more and more of them. Which is nice. Because I was afraid they had despawned.
Yeah, I like to check on my axolotls regularly to make sure that they're still there.
I had axolotls in here and they all despawned.
I like to forget that I have axolotls, and then be pleasantly surprised once every few months.
That's funny. I have axolotls in my bedroom, though. It's a very small tank, however. It didn't really... I wasn't originally going to put axolotl in there. So... yeah.
Anyway, the bucket should be in the iron chest, I think. No, it's in the potion making chest.
And are your chests labeled?
Kind
Before
of,
I
but
touch
not really.
these maps,
In here.
are these maps like specifically created so that you would have an original look of your land? Like before you start changing it?
No.
You haven't updated them.
Yes, I have. You can't tell because of the green indicator on top of this.
I don't believe you. Is it really that small?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's small enough
Okay.
that the
Flag
mhm,
banner thing.
little indicator is too big on it. Anyway, it's in this chest.
Everyone knows the way around their own vaults, which is a good thing.
Wait, I'm supposed to know my way around my own vault?
That's the general idea, Joe.
I mean, this one is mostly correctly labeled.
I mean, my vault's correctly labeled too, but it would sure take you a minute to find stuff from in there.
No, most of the things are like orderly and kept together with the stuff that they are.
So are mine, but still. And some of your axolotl that are out here. Turtle. Tiny fishes. Hello, fish. You're going to become, well, my axolotl. There we go. There can be no arguing because it's the same type of fish. One second, I'm still in the water. I'm coming. I've got a bit on me. I'm swimming. I'm swimming. I'm getting shot at.
You know, I have pizza for dinner tonight, but not because I was actually planning on having pizza. But because
I ate pizza for dinner tonight because I wanted to.
Domino's is doing this thing where if you do carry out, they'll give you $3 off next week. So last week I got pizza from Domino's for Pi Day. So this week I had $3 off, and then they gave me another $3 off next week, which means I can get 2 pizzas for $10.
Alright, give me.
Which is
You
literally
can have.
almost too good to pass up, just deal-wise.
I got a baby blue axolotl. I'll leave your other bucket over here in this chest. That way I'm not stealing your bucket.
You're fine. Like, how cheap are buckets?
Oh, I have a whole chest. Was it a chest or was it a barrel? I have a barrel full of buckets. In my tool room. Castle. Yeah, with 2 iron farms on the server, we're pretty bucket full.
An excellent pun.
Thank you.
I don't know if it was intended to be a pun, but it was good.
It was. Alright, I need to go heal all of my tools. Go back home. And go to bed. I gotta get up at 5:30. Sorting all of my stuff back into the vault took way longer than I thought. I truly am done with the exterior of the turrets. I just didn't get started with the interior like I had wanted to. I have 5 mostly dead pickaxes in my bucket. 3 mostly dead axes. Some shovels that could. Why are there a bunch of striders in minecarts in here?
Presumably so they don't despawn.
Yeah, but they're on my track. And why is my track broken? Alright, I know I don't live here anymore, but really?
I didn't do it.
Also, there's a Strider stable. If you need a Strider, just go get one. They all have saddles, and there's fungus on a sticks in there, and there's signs of how to use it. Like, come on, guys.
I didn't do it.
All right.
See, you say that, but no one believes you.
Wait, why am I here? I don't want to be in the house. I need to go. Why is my rockets not working?
So I came
can't even
to
get
a
out of the water.
realization that I had been wasting all of my time. Because I don't need to fill in the ocean. I just need to cover up the ocean.
Dude, I feel like I made a comment about, like, I'm not gonna fill in my area, I'm just gonna cover it. And you're like, what, I would know, and I wouldn't want to do that.
Oh no, that was about my house. Which is different. You can't make shortcuts on the house.
All of these tools have mending on them, right? Oh, that doesn't have mending on it. Okay. It's because it's diamond.
Oh, I just realized I'm gonna have to buy a lot of bricks.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sitting here for a while mending. Because I'm still mending my elytra, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's not
splitting it between the
not
elytra and
despawning
the
everything
pickaxe.
anymore. Okay. There we go.
Maybe you just needed to crash.
Needed to hardcore just crash the game, red screen of death, and then it's all good. How very Microsoft of them.
Wow, I really almost killed my axe.
Oh, that reminds me of some news.
It's pickaxes too. Oh.
Are you guys familiar with Project Veritas?
What?
Project Veritas and what they do.
Actually, I think I've heard of it.
Is this a VTuber thing?
No.
Are you lying to me about this being a VTuber thing?
No. They've been around a lot longer than VTubers.
Is it something more cringe than VTubers?
Only if you think, what's the term? Only if you think journalism is more cringe than VTubers.
Oh gosh, that's a close race.
But it's investigative journalism.
Like actual investigative journalism?
Like actual
or
investigative journalism. They get people in undercover and all that stuff.
Do they have integrity?
Yes. By most accounts. But the FBI has been trying to take them down. Or not the...
Oh, well, that's how you know.
Anyway, yeah, so like, the FBI raided them, last year? It was sometime in December, I think. And, basically, the court told the FBI, listen, they're journalists. You can't just raid their home and take all their data. You've got to have more than just a normal warrant, because this is journalism, and it is protected under the First Amendment. Like, you gotta...
As a government institution, you should know this.
And basically, the FBI told a bunch of judges to go screw off and continued to investigate. Now Project Veritas is blowing the lid wide open off of the FBI, ignoring the court order and continuing to investigate them undercover.
It's like that it's like that CDP Grey video where it's like, yes, they were going to bring New York in front of the Supreme Court, and New York would definitely listen to whatever the court decided in this. Actually, no, New York was going to tell the court to get bent.
Was that the... Which case was that?
I think it had to do with where the border between New York and New Jersey was.
I didn't know that was a thing that went into court. New York started to get too big for its britches, huh?
Well, you see, like...
Were they taxing people who were citizens of New Jersey because they declared them to be part of New York?
No, like, there's an old charter that, defined where the borders were. and it's much like all of the charters that were drafted by Britain, in Britain, for Britain, about the colonies. It's very vague and incorrect in a lot of areas. And so when it defines the border as running down a river and out to sea, it's unclear at what point in the river the border is. And so there's some islands that are in there, and the ports and whatnot that were disputed as to whether they were New York or New Jersey.
Ah. And so New York declared that it was theirs.
New York said all the islands in the river and all of the ports extending into the river as well are ours. Regardless of the fact that, the ports are on New Jersey's side and coming off of New Jersey.
That seems a bit much. They should just take the Ohio and West Virginia approach, where half of the river is Ohio and half the river is West Virginia's.
They kind of did. They looped back around, and so New York ended up getting the islands, and New Jersey got the ports. And then there was some further weirdness where they then had to fight about the islands again because the island got bigger somehow. I forget exactly what the I need to look this back up.
The island got bigger.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Usually erosion works the other way.
Well, it's unclear actually how it got bigger. New York claimed it was theirs because they said that when they were digging out all of the subways, they dumped the dirt there.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have like any kind of paper trail to show that. So let me find this.
So New York was just trying to bully New Jersey, is what this sounds like. Oh, I'm looking at the photo that you posted, and you're right. I'm literally just hovering. So you were looking this up, and
Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so New Jersey, this is on a video he made called "Who Owns the Statue of Liberty?"
ah,
And So, what I said before about the original charter stands. It was badly worded and weird, and New Jersey basically said the border goes, straight down the middle of the Hudson. In the same way that the border for Ohio would be just like in the middle of the river.
I think islands and stuff belong to Ohio, but there's not a huge amount of those, and nobody uses them for anything. Nobody cares.
Yeah. And so if New Jersey was correct, and that's where the border lays, then the islands, Staten Island, Liberty Island, and Ellis Island would technically be theirs because it's on their side of the border.
Mm-hmm.
And New York said, no, the Hudson goes the other way around Staten Island, not the direct way. And so all the islands are New York's and all of the ports in this. The islands in the river, the whole river, and all of the piers you've built into the river are New York's.
Bold claim, but all right.
New Jersey didn't agree, but when borders and rules are vague, bigger stick diplomacy wins.
So they took it to the Supreme Court then.
Right. So 1832, New Jersey calls on the Supreme Court, and New York just doesn't show up.
That's how you make a good impression on the Supreme Court.
They said that the Supreme Court didn't have jurisdiction in a dispute between the states.
Oh, but that's exactly where they have jurisdiction. If they don't have... What in the world? If the Supreme Court does not have jurisdiction over disputes between the states, who does? A bigger state? Because that's what we were built on. Is bigger state always wins. That's how we keep unity in the Union.
Right, and so New York says that the court doesn't have jurisdiction, and the court doesn't try to force the issue, because if they did, and New York still didn't comply, what do they do?
I guess call on the army, the executive branch. Ugh.
And so the federal government basically strong-armed New York into haggling it out with New Jersey privately. And New Jersey gave up Staten Island, and New York stopped claiming that they owned the entire river. And New Jersey gave up Ellis and Liberty Island, despite the fact that Ellis and Liberty Island are within the New Jersey border.
Man, so it really is just a case of New York attempting to bully New Jersey. Being like, what you gonna do about it? And then the U.S. government was like, well, I could do something about it. And New York was like, well, yeah, you probably could.
Okay, so both Ellis Island and Liberty Island are New York enclaves inside of New Jersey.
Gotta love.
So technically speaking, the Statue of Liberty is in New Jersey, but it's also in New York.
Gotta love those state enclaves in other states. As a...
And then the United States government took the island as federal land.
There's something like that with Russia right now. So nobody in like America knows this because it literally never affects us. But there's this like tiny piece of land, like a fourth the size of Rhode Island, that's just right by Switzerland, and it's Russia. The only thing they have there is like a military base or two, but there's this tiny piece of Russia. Oh my goodness, stop. There's this tiny piece of Russia just by Switzerland. Which, if you do the math, is literally hundreds of miles away from Russia.
Okay, so here's what I was talking about a little earlier. New Jersey then later claimed part of Ellis Island as their own again, because the island was bigger than it had been previously.
So that's when New York was like... Meanwhile, the federal government's probably just done with both of them.
Yeah, so they go back to the Supreme Court, right? And New Jersey claims that the added land is theirs, and New York says that the island was still theirs, even though it was bigger now. And they also claimed that, you know, the dirt that they got from digging up the subway, they dumped there, on Ellis Island. Which is in New Jersey's half of the river. Which is a bold territorial acquisition strategy.
It reminds me of... So, in like, do you know how, like, ancient land was, like, marked and stuff?
Do I know what?
I said, do you know how, like, people from, like, Mesopotamia used to, like, claim property of land and stuff? Like, mark where their property line was.
No.
So, the Mesopotamian area, the whole Fertile Crescent basically used this strategy. You would have stones, and you would place the stones every few acres. You would place a new stone to mark where your farm ended and where your neighbor's farm began and stuff like that, because, you know, large marked stones are easy to recognize, hard to move, and last for generations, so it's a good strategy. There were literally unscrupulous farmers who, over generations, would just move the stone half a foot onto their neighbor's land, just rolling it every once in a while. Like, every year you would just get an extra 1,000 square feet of your neighbor's land, so that your land would become bigger and their land would become smaller. It's very much reminiscent of what New York has just done, if what they're claiming is even true. they've just dumped their land into a river so that New Jersey gets smaller. There were, of course, punishments if you were caught doing this to your neighbor in most ancient laws, because, like, you're literally stealing hundreds of feet of land.
I'm imagining some shenanigans where both of the neighbors are doing the exact same thing. One's just moving the stone in the morning, and the other one's moving it in the evening, and neither one of them notices for like 20 years.
It's also on, like, the exact same day. And the one guy would get done with his sons pushing this giant stone half a foot before the next guy would show up, not but 5 minutes later after they'd moved on to the next stone and be pushing it.
No, I'm imagining like they're both on opposite ends of the property, and so eventually it just kind of spirals around center, and then 20 years later they're living in each other's original houses. Neither one of them actually gains anything, but they just swap places.
There's actually all sorts of mentions about this in the Law of Moses. Moses references this practice at least twice himself. Solomon writes, "Do not move the ancient landmarks," in the Proverbs, instead encouraging people to live peacefully with their neighbors instead of trying to just one-up each other. So that goes well every time it's tried. The one-upping each other thing was what I was being sarcastic about, by the way. In case that wasn't clear. There's penalties for it in the Code of Harambe.
The what?
No, sorry. I did the meme. Sorry. Hammurabi. The Code of Hammurabi.
Oh, thank goodness.
I had to think. I had to forget the gorilla's name and remember the ancient law raider's name.
I was about to lose my mind. It's like they did not create a system of laws.
I'm kind of sure that the gorilla in question was named after the guy from Mesopotamia.
You know, you can shut up. Doesn't even matter if it's true. You can shut up. Especially if it's true.
certainly feel as if I've accomplished quite a bit today. I don't think I actually accomplished all that much on Minecraft.
I
But
still haven't finished mending all my tools. Just sitting here.
what are you using to mend it?
Gold farm.
Ah. Trident killer.
Mm-hmm. 3 silk touch and a fortune pickaxe are done. Now I just need to... I have an almost dead axe I need to fix, and then everything else is over half. That it still has life, so they shouldn't take as long. And my elytra mended itself a long time ago.
I have a dog who really wants out. We're reaching the 3-hour mark on the stream. So I think we're going to go ahead and sign off here for tonight. If that's alright with you two.
Yeah.
Alright. Go ahead and get to the top of my roof. Oh, never mind. It's nighttime.